It is Monday, October 14th, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by our friends over at SeatGeek. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I'm Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. Truth be told, we are recording this Sunday night right after I got done with my NFL Network gig. That's why I've got my collared shirt and no hat on, and maybe a little extra makeup for my show.
A little makeup, a little brown dye in that beard. You looking good, playa.
Seriously, this is mascara, by the way. I think that's what they put in. I don't know if it's actually brown dye. Might be coming off in my hands during this show. By the way, by the end of the show, I might be fully gray again. So as I do
Let's
this,
hope not.
Yeah, okay. Once again, this is brought to you by SeatGeek. We have a special announcement to celebrate baseball's playoffs. SeatGeek, the official ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, giving all of you 10% off your next purchase. Use the code JohnBoyPlayoffs10. Doesn't matter whether you're buying for the first time or if you are a returning customer. The code JohnBoyPlayoffs10 is going to hook you up. Once again, that's JohnBoyPlayoffs10, 10% off your next SeatGeek purchase. You will thank us later. Also, end of the week, SeatGeek question of the week. So get it in via social media. Just click on the link in the description. It'll take you right to our social media. Best question. Most interesting, one that makes us laugh, whatever, we pick you, $500 credit to use on SeatGeek. That's big time. Got it. I'm not wearing a hat right now. I know I've got one around here somewhere. Tip of the cap. Hey, you do the tip of the cap. Thank you. A lot of us have seen the Lane Thomas homer, and we'll discuss that. But did you see the catch? It was by a season ticket holder in Cleveland named Matt Coleman, who then gave it to Patrick Steyer, his cousin, 37 years old. He's been battling leukemia. This is the first game that he has been to pre-pandemic. That's a hell of a friend and cousin. Just gave it right to him. Love the picture that we saw out of that as well. So you may have seen the homer, may not have seen this story in the photo. That's why we brought it to your attention. Very cool.
An awesome moment. Shout out Lane Thomas for hitting it, the cousin for giving the ball. Then I believe there was some other season ticket holders who actually gave the seats up so it was a little bit more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the power of baseball, man. You know, everyone getting together, being good Samaritans, if you will. And we get a moment like that. So I'm happy you brought that up, Chris.
Yeah, very, very cool story. All right, so we are down to our final four. Since we last did a show, the Dodgers eliminated the Padres. They shut them out a second straight time. And, oh, by the way, they carried whatever momentum into the start of the NLCS because they took it to the New York Mets via shutout variety as well. And we want to talk about the pitching. Your boy Jack Flaherty did a great job. The bullpen arms just continue to dominate as well. But Shohei Ohtani is doing something special with runners in scoring position. Did you see what he did Sunday night?
Home of the 1-0. Ripped, right center field, carrying well, off the wall. Edman hits third and comes home. Ohtani's into second. Throw to the plate is not in time. It's a screamer of a double. And what a start for LA.
The team has been providing a lot of opportunities for me to hit with runners in scoring position, and I'm grateful for that. Each and every one of the pitchers have been doing their job exceptionally well, and it's really setting the tone for the offensive part of the game to be able to feel comfortable and score runs.
Whether he's got teammates on first, second, or third, it doesn't matter. He's going to put the ball in play right now, and then when nobody is on base, he is not getting it done. This is weird, isn't it?
It is a little strange. I didn't know. I knew he was in a funk. I believe he was like 2 for 18 after his first at bat, 2 for his last 18. Right. I didn't know about the runners in scoring position, or runners on,
runners on,
and then nobody on. It is interesting. I don't know what it is. I think it's just one of those statistical anomalies. If we're being honest, I know we can sit here and say, oh, it's just because he's so dang clutch, and he is clutch. But I think it's just a random set of numbers right now.
I will say this is that he hit several balls on the screws, even the ones that didn't land for hits. He just missed one, I think, driving one to center field in maybe his last at bat. You couple that with the fact that the Dodgers have gone 33 consecutive playoff innings without giving up a run. The last 24 of the Padres series, and then blanking the Mets in game one. This is some historic shit, my friend.
Yeah, and it's scary for teams that are facing them. Obviously, now it's the Mets because this is not supposed to be the strong part of their team.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to be an offensive heavy team, maybe mix and match defensively. I don't even know what I'm trying to say other than the fact that coming in to the postseason, pitching was like the third thing they did all right. The starting pitching really isn't there for them. We knew the bullpen was going to be okay, but 33 scoreless innings is crazy, Chris. And, when you think back to the last time someone scored against them, it was the Fernando Tatis homer against Walker Buehler, when we basically thought this is probably the season for the Dodgers,
Right.
the way that series was looking, and they buckled down. And what did Kike say? They don't give a you-know-what. And they just came out in 33. I believe they kept saying this on broadcast, 23 runs for the Dodgers, 0 for the opposing team.
Your boy Jack Flaherty, 7 shutout innings. What a moment for him, right? Doing this in his hometown with his mom watching. Very cool. 6 strikeout performance. Looked outstanding. You hop back to Friday night when Yamamoto, we were like, okay, well, maybe we're not sure if that's even the right call, if they ended up going with him or not. Why wouldn't you just go another bullpen game like you did in game 4 in Petco Park to save your season? Dave Roberts has pushed a lot of the right buttons, and more importantly, the players have kind of done their job. And here's the nice thing. We now reach a 7-game series. I don't think that there's any sort of panic in the Mets. Like it's almost like you see them and they feel like 7 individual stories.
Yeah, but it definitely means less than in a 5 or a 3-game set. There's no doubt about it. I think that losing 9-0 is not great, but I think you can wash it. I don't think they're sitting there panicking. I don't, because the main goal for them would be to split the series here and bring it back to New York 1-1. I think that's kind of what the mentality probably is. Obviously, you want to go and try to win every single game, but if you were to be able to do that, take the series back to New York 1-1, you'll be happy. So they have that chance tomorrow.
Did Dave Roberts say who was starting game 2? Because
he just said bullpen game. So I think that's the right way to do it. With the off day on Tuesday, you throw the bullpen out there tomorrow, have days to rest, then you go in there 3 straight games in New York. And I don't think he announced who was going to start, but it's definitely a bullpen game.
Is that smarter than letting Walker Buehler go in game 2?
Yeah, because if you're going to do a bullpen game, you want to have the off day afterwards.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense.
Makes sense. And for Sean Manaea, another great opportunity to continue to do his thing. He's just been awesome the second half of the year, and obviously had that great moment where he got to walk off the mound on obviously a very emotional day where his aunt had died earlier. And we'll see if he can, listen, it's not a must win, but you don't want to have to go home winning, saying we got to win 2 of 3 or this is it. It's just, it'll be interesting. Now, I do want to get your opinion on the Kike thing with Ken Rosenthal. Did you laugh at it? Did you think that?
Oh, like that we don't give a?
Yeah.
I think that's just Kike being Kike. Like if you've watched the postseason, you see a lot of Kike, and that's kind of his personality. He likes to have fun. He likes to kind of be. He has that type of personality. We saw the cup touch with Gavin Lux after the homer. Like there was a lot of things. And you know what? Let me tell you something. I think this is part of Kike's master plan to make everyone think he's just like a joker and like have a good time. He's got like the Grinch face that he does, all those different things. But he's out there starting in center field for the Dodgers right now. He's got, I think, the 8th most postseason homers that have active players. Like, I think it's all just, hey, don't mind me doing my thing on the baseball field. Pay attention over here. He made a great play on Winker tonight. And yeah, I didn't really have a problem with it. I know some people might say, why'd you wait and ask him if it was live to cuss? Whatever. It's just Kike being Kike.
I think because he didn't want them to beep it out.
Doesn't live TV always have like a little buffer as well?
Yeah, there's a 7-second delay, but you're not always going to be able to.
Where's the delay guy out there?
Where's the delay?
Where's he at?
Sleeping. It's usually what they end up doing. Just taking a little nap at the wrong time. Yeah, Kike's postseason, regular season splits are ridiculous. He's like one of the most clutch playoff performers that we've ever seen. OPS over 900.
He's in center field, and he goes to second base at the end of the game tonight. I mean, that's how valuable is that for Dave Roberts?
He's got a bunch of guys that he could do that with.
Yeah.
Really, really good stuff. Mets-Dodgers, I think it's going to be a really fun series. I don't think there's any question. It comes back to L.A., 6 or 7. Sign me up right now. Enjoying it so far. First game, 9-0. Whatever. We'll see you for game 2 and have our thoughts of that on Tuesday's show. Jump over to the American League Championship Series. We talked about the Yankees advancing on Friday's show. Now they know which of those teams from the Great Lakes they will be taking on.
Thomas swings, hits a high fly ball deep into left field. It is up. It is going to be a grand slam. Lane Thomas. What a moment.
I don't know if I have the words at this moment, but, you just love coming through for your teammates in that situation. Our bullpen's been grinding this whole series, and, to come through and make all those innings worth it, it feels awesome.
I keep being so proud of this group. Back against the wall. We're never out of it. We answer, and we shut them down. We still got work to do. Let's freaking do it!
That, of course, Lane Thomas after his grand slam against Tarek Skubal and then Stephen Vogt in the clubhouse afterward. So do you want to hear how crazy I am?
Okay. You spray champagne?
No, of course not. I'm not going to do that over our carpet.
That's silly.
Come on now. Well, so I told you on Friday's show that Michelle has to sit in the same place. My brother, Pete, came over and watched the game as well. No problem. After the game was over, I said, I can go shower now because I had been wearing the same underwear since Thursday.
Oh, my gosh. Chris. Is that serious?
That's what we call winning streaks. You know what I mean?
Wait, why are you showering now? Why are you washing your underwear now? There's still games to be won.
Off day.
I don't know if the baseball gods work like that, Chris.
Heck yeah, they do.
Okay.
They did. If you had seen the look
I don't
on
want
Michelle's face, she
I
was
thought you were going to say if you had seen my underwear.
Dude, it's so stupid how we are as fans. So stupid. I want to say this. It was an awesome series. I would have been crushed if they had lost it because I really felt like we were kind of looking in the mirror with the team. And I thought that the biggest difference was they had Tarek Skubal and we didn't. And when they got up 1-0, I was like, how are we going to score against this monster? And then I thought the biggest key, to be honest with you, was when he hit Ramirez, tied it at 1, loaded the bases. You tell me, was he scared to come back inside, which is where he should have pitched Lane Thomas because he had just hit somebody? Have you seen that from the batter's box?
I don't think so. I don't think he was really worried about that. Obviously, you don't want to hit back-to-back guys there, but no, I think he just missed his spot. I mean, maybe subconsciously, but the kind of pitcher that he is, I don't think he's scared of anything, Chris. I think he just missed his spot. And Lane Thomas, I felt like there was no doubt in my mind he was swinging first pitcher. They were doing that quite a bit that game. Looking at his career numbers now, 967 OPS swinging at the first pitch. And I think the problem was just the location. It was down, a little bit out, but down enough where you could get the barrel to it. He didn't have that the command at the top of the zone that he typically has, and that was the difference, man. What great swing right there, and an all-time Cleveland moment, dude. Game 5 against Scoobs, that was awesome.
It was awesome. It was crazy and fun, and we will kiss off the Tigers a little bit later and their amazing run that they had. And the fact that in mid-August they had a 0.2% chance of making the playoffs, and then they're this close to making the ALCS. We'll talk about where they've been and where they're going coming up in just a little bit. But let's spin this forward now. Game 1 is coming up Monday night. Carlos Rodon is going to get the ball against who's going? Oh, Alex Cobb.
Alex Cobb.
Yeah. So it'll be Cobb and Rodon, a pair of veterans. Any problem because Aaron Boone said he could have gone with Clark Schmidt in this one. Instead, he's going to go with a guy who was a little, he started off great against the Royals, and then he got a little rickety.
I think with the 7-game set, we're going to see everyone anyways. I don't have a problem.
I don't either. I think it's smart. Now, Cleveland might have been a slight favorite. I don't even remember against the Tigers. That here they are a massive underdog against the Yankees. So how is Cleveland going to continue this run?
I think they have to play Cleveland baseball. They can't. I said before, the Royals, we're going to have to try to match slugging potential of the Yankees. I don't think that I would give that advice to Cleveland, and I don't know why I'm saying. I think I do know why I'm saying it differently between those two teams. I just think they have more of a kind of a pressure offense that they can put on that the Royals didn't have. So I think they have to continue to play their type of baseball. I think Kwan has to continue to do what he's done, which is kind of just be a menace, get on base. They're not. I don't think they're going to let Jose Ramirez beat them. I think we're going to talk about that on the next question. So I think other guys are going to have to step up. But again, we just kind of like seen that all season long. That's what I've seen from the outside looking in. Is it's just somebody figures it out. Rocchio had a huge series, a bunch of hits in that the ALDS. So I think they continue to play their brand of baseball, put pressure on the Yankees, and then I think their kind of pitching formula works. And I said this on Talking Baseball. I'm interested to hear your take. Like, I think Stephen Vogt's job is a lot easier during this series because Aaron Boone has his lineup, and Aaron Boone's lineup is going to be his lineup. Stephen Vogt's not going to have to go toe-to-toe with AJ Hinch trying to get these matchups. Like, he's going to be able to get the matchups that he wants because Aaron Boone doesn't do that. They don't pinch hit a ton. They don't take guys out in the second inning. Like, they're not going to do that. They have their guys. So Stephen Vogt's going to understand the lane he wants for his bullpen, which they're going to have to rely on heavily, obviously. But I think it's just play their brand of baseball. Maybe you run into a few homers like you did with Lane Thomas, but by and large, pressure on the offense, try to get base runners on, try to get them on, get them over, get them in, just do what you've done. And then I think the pitching will figure itself out because, he's going to get his matchups that he wants.
I know that the Yankees only scored 16 runs in their 4-game series win over the Kansas City Royals. And it might not be the Yankee lineups of yesteryear, but they do have a ton of guys that can click you. I think that the biggest uphill battle for Cleveland is letting its starting pitchers work. They are going to have to do more and let guys outside of Tanner Bybee see the 5th. Nobody's seen the 6th inning for Cleveland starting pitchers.
I think I'm not very happy if they saw their starters go 5.
Yes, but they have to because the guys that they've relied on, the big 4 monsters in Clase, Gaddis, Cade Smith, the eye surgeon, and Tim Herron, they have all thrown more than 65 games throughout the regular season. And then we saw them a ton in the first series against Detroit. You can't do that. They almost burned themselves when they took Matthew Boyd out after 2 innings in Game 5. Did he have traffic those 2 innings? Yes, but he was throwing the ball well. So they really have to have a better pulse on this because if it is going to be a long series, and they're going to have to win this in 6 or 7 games. I think they're going to have to win it in New York because Garrett Cole could shove them in Game 2. All of a sudden, they could be down 2-0 heading back home. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. Now, can they beat them? Absolutely. They've lost 4 out of 6 to the Yankees this year, but they had a bunch of guys start this year that aren't even a part of the team anymore.
I think that's the most positive thing I've ever heard you say about Cleveland this year.
What? That
they can beat the Yankees. Yeah. I've never heard you say that.
I'm not saying that it's not an uphill battle. It's a massive uphill battle, particularly like Aaron Judge. I don't know if he unlocked something in Game 4, but he was on base 3 times. He had an extra base hit. I've seen him hit plenty of home runs against the Cleveland Guardians / Indians in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to have to hope he continues to kind of, put up pedestrian numbers. I don't think that's something that you want to bank on necessarily, but I do agree with you on the bullpen. And, Maybe it's not the same because the Guardians don't play the Yankees as much as they do the Tigers. So the Tigers guys, at the end of that series, they were putting good at bats against the
Really good.
Cleveland relievers because they'd seen them through the series, they'd seen them through the year. So I think it might be a little different just because they're in different divisions. But yeah, by the end of the series, if you're going to these guys every single game, I mean, you don't want to do that if you're Steven Vogt. So I agree with you. The starting pitching has to go. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but yeah, for them to win the series, I think they apply as much pressure offensively, which means hitting and running, bunting, stealing bases, all the small ball stuff. I think they go play that type of ball. You'll run into a few homers here and there, but then yeah, they're going to have to pitch a little bit on the starting end as well.
And the Yankees bullpen has been the best in baseball throughout the playoffs. It hasn't allowed an earned run in more than 15 innings worked. Those guys have figured it out. We've talked a lot about
maybe
Weaver.
maybe not as good as the Dodgers now because we're talking.
Yeah, I mean, right. There's a couple guys for the Dodgers who gave up some runs, but other than that, the guys that they really count on, are doing it. The nice thing for the Yankees, they don't believe in a bullpen game this year. They don't need to. They've got starters that they expect to get into the 5th, 6th inning, or in Cole's case, at least the 7th. And everything else will fall in place. Like they're humming along right now. I'm sure they feel great about where they are. We'll have more on this series in just a bit. But you know what we all need a little bit more of? To get off our ass. With bold flavors, refreshing citrus kick, Mountain Dew will get you off your ass and have you feeling like you're on an actual mountain. A mountain where the weather is always perfect, your friends are ready to hang, and a day of epic proportions awaits. Go out. Do something outside. Be competitive with your friends, like a closest to the pin contest, a furthest throw, football, baseball, free throw shooting contest, tossing a frisbee, playing video games. If you got a monitor outside, throw your gamer headset and go do that. You can play kickball, you can play wiffle ball, you can play pickleball, you can create any kind of ball you want. Why? Because the mountain is calling, and you should answer. Grab your friends, grab an ice cold Mountain Dew, wherever refreshing beverages are sold, and 3 words for you. Do the do. We continue on, and Aaron Boone had his press conference on Sunday to get ready for Game 1. And somebody brought up the point about Jose Ramirez being baseball's most underrated player. Skip?
If I hear another how underappreciated, underrated he is from somebody on a network or something, I want to rip my arms off and throw it at the TV. He's not underappreciated. He's not underrated. He's a great on a Hall of Fame track player, and everybody knows it, including all of us sitting out here. Like, switch hitter, power, great base runner, great defender at third. Like, he's a great all-around player.
What'd you think of that?
I thought it was great. I mean, that's a guy that knows ball right there. Obviously, he's played against Jose for quite a bit there in the American League, so he's seen it firsthand. But I mean, I agree with the statement. I know why people say he's underrated. He plays in Cleveland. He doesn't get a ton of national notoriety if you're talking about like ESPN or maybe not even MLB Network, because those places are fixated on 2 or 3 guys, and he's usually not one of them. But the voters of the MVP and the guys that pay attention to the games understand what he's done. Now, I will say this: maybe I'm just backtracking right now. But when he said he's on a Hall of Fame track, I was like, is he on a Hall of Fame track? And I went to his page. I'm like, kind of, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's 32 years old. 255 homers, so like that's not great, but he's amassed a ton of WAR in his time, which I think now voters are starting to take that into account. He's already amassed 52.4 baseball reference WAR. He's only 32 years old, people.
Yeah,
he's got another 4 years on his contract, which will bring him to 36. Like, this guy is possible. It's possible he plays for 8 more years. The counting stats will get there. How many hits? Only 1,500 hits. I don't know if he gets to the Hall of Fame. But he said that. I started looking at it, and I say, okay, maybe.
Yeah. I'm not going to say I got in an argument on social media, but I did quote tweet Boone's response here, and I said amen to it, basically, that my hometown is a lot like a lot of towns in this sport in particular, because it doesn't matter what market size you're in the NFL. Kansas City, they have the most popular player. They have the most popular tight end. They have it, right? They've got a lot of popularity going on in that sport. It doesn't matter. Milwaukee, tiniest of tiny spots in the baseball world. Giannis, pretty popular for the Milwaukee Bucks. The sport, we all know, does a crappy job marketing its people. So if you want to say that he's under-marketed, I will listen to that. He is not underrated. Who is he underrated by? I mean, when people say, well, when you talk about the top 10 players in the game, he's not mentioned. Well, I don't know. I mean, who doesn't mention him? He's about to be in the top 5 of the MVP voting for the 5th time in his career. He just freaking started the All-Star game. He competed in the home run derby. Like, people know how good he is. He's maybe not at the top of the list because I really believe you have to watch him every day to appreciate everything he brings to a team. It's not just the almost 40-40 season. It's how he runs the bases. It's the 90 feet that he gets. It's everything that makes him such a damn good baseball player. But you're not going to watch him every day if he's not a part of your team.
I'm looking something up right now. Okay. I'm looking right now. Fact check me, Dan. Barry Bonds is the only player ever to go 400-400. That's what I just Googled.
Yeah, that's
Jose Ramirez has a very good chance to go 400-400. I mean, 145 homers.
Mm-hmm.
He just hit how many homers did he hit this year?
30. He hit 39. Yeah.
So you're talking 5 years of 30, okay? Which is like
it's a lot.
That's a lot, but like he kind of averages right around there. Just let's go 6 years of 25, whatever it is. Okay. That gets into 400. He stole 41 bags this year.
Yeah.
Stolen bases are getting easier to steal. So if he does that for 4 more years, he's there. Like I'm not saying it's going to happen 100%, but you can't tell me that doesn't have a chance to get 400-400.
Yeah. You know, I had somebody, and it was a discussion. It wasn't like a venomous social media back and forth between fans and stuff. Somebody said, well, why didn't baseball make a bigger deal about him going after 40-40 when all I ever heard about was Shohei going after 50-50? Shohei is one of one. So everything he does gets amplified by the league. Go ahead, caller.
There's only the 300 club. 300 club is Barry Bonds, Willie Mays,
and Carlos Beltran. Right?
There's more. Barry Bonds, Willie Mays, Andre Dawson, Bobby Bonds, Reggie Sanders, Steve Finley, Alex Rodriguez, and Carlos Beltran. Most of those guys are in the Hall of Fame.
Reggie Sanders made it. Wow. That guy.
Barry Bonds is the only one in the 400 club.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Nobody's questioning how good he is. It's just
I didn't know, Chris, that we're talking possible Hall of Fame.
That's fun.
Did you?
Well, yes, because yes.
But do you think that?
Do I think that he's a Hall of Fame? He's going to be absolutely in the discussion. One guy who opened the door for him was Scott Rowland. I mean, Jose Ramirez is a significantly better offensive player than Scott Rowland. Scott Rowland got in there in part because he was freaking a wizard with his glove. And they're like, and metrically, he was a great base runner. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Jose Ramirez changes games the way he runs bases. Scott Rowland was an excellent base runner, but I don't need metrics to tell me how good a base runner Jose Ramirez is.
350. Does that get him in? Because nobody else has done that besides Bonds either.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be in the discussion.
Maybe he is underrated. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I loved it. And
take
by
your
the way,
arms off and throw them.
That was hilarious. I've never heard anybody say that. I'm going to take my arms off and throw them at the TV. That was funny. All right. Tigers, we talked about your series with the Cleveland Guardians a little bit earlier. Came up short. Best of 5 series. Here's A.J. Hinch on the end of that season.
I mean, there's only one team that doesn't have this pit in your stomach at the end of the year. And we were the next one to go through it. So I know it's going to sting, but we're also going to use it as fuel to get to next spring. But seasons end fast, when you're in the middle of this sprint race through the playoffs and come up a little bit short.
I thought pretty well said there. They got a lot to look forward to. A lot. Now, I remember when we were talking, when they started to make their run, and they were a couple of games back, and I said, do you remember the question where I said, do you think they regret making those trades that they did? And a lot of Tigers fans came back at us.
Yes.
We both said yes. In part, you had brought up the Flaherty idea about him maybe getting an extension. And I said, yeah, you know what? They are a little short in pitching, which I still believe they are. I mean, now Jackson Jobe might turn into a superstar. That kid is electrifying. His arm is awesome. And we know about Skubal. I still feel like they do need a veteran because I cannot believe they actually made the run that they did with the way that they did it, where essentially they had 3 starting pitchers and then they were going bullpen the rest of the year. Now, you can't do that for 6 months. The fact that they did it for 3 months, including this 2-week run in the playoffs, was astonishing.
Yeah, I mean, that's so obviously hats off to the Tigers for doing what they did in those
Hell
2
yes.
months. I mean, they made up so much ground and they really did look like they were the team that's like the underdog of the playoffs, in my opinion, because of what you talked about. And they were like an underdog that nobody wanted to face. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to tip the cap. So you're asking me like, where do they go next year? What's the feeling like next year? I'm curious, dude. I think they have some big decisions to make. Like they need to go out and get some guys in free agency. What are they going to do with Javi Baez? Like when he was not playing, they were good. He's still there for 3 more years. So that's what I'm asking. Do you eat that and say, sorry, man, like we'll trade you, we'll eat it, whatever it is? Because do you disrupt the mojo that they've discovered? Probably. Like you probably have to do that. Okay. Then I do think you need to bring in some starters. Yeah. Like, because what Hinch did for 2 months, I don't think works for 162 unless you have a bunch of guys built to go. We've talked about this on the show many times. I think the future in pitching probably is that 3 or 4 innings for like 10 guys in your bullpen and you have 2 closers. I don't know. That's like what I think the future of pitching is. I think that's what a lot of teams would want to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that they need to go out and get some starters. I think the offense is interesting. I think they could probably add there as well, but they have the pieces. So I think they're going to be one of the teams that everyone looks to in the offseason and says, what are they doing? What are they going to do this year? You can't just rest. You can't do that to the city of Detroit, and you can't play that way and then just sit on your hands.
So Riley Green, great this year, all-star season. As long as he can stay out there, he's had some funky injuries. I know. I really am a big believer in him. I thought Parker Meadows in the playoffs was sensational. Like
awesome.
he's such a good athlete, and if you can
great to have in center field, he hits enough.
Yeah, and he can run, man. To me, there's 2 interesting guys. Justin Henry Malloy, who was great in the playoff series against Cleveland. Like he seems like he's got some good pop and a good understanding. I think if he's given a full season, I'd love to see what he could do for them. And Torkelson is a guy who looked so lost at times in the playoffs. And then there was one at bat in game 5, I think it was, where he nodded his head. He was like, okay, I'm on this. I think it might have been against Cade Smith even. And then he blasted one against the wall. He's the guy who, because when he came out of Arizona State, all you heard was, well, he's not just a slugger. He can really hit. And he hadn't done it. He got sent down this year. So if he's a guy who can be a thumper, even at like the 6th spot in the lineup, that totally changes them. But they're in a really good spot. Good spot.
Jack's a free agent, guys. Bring him back.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, too, by the way. That was good stuff. Really good stuff by them this year. All right, today's episode, once again, presented to you by SeatGeek, official ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. Playoffs, championship series, full swing. Use that code JohnBoyPlayoffs10, 10% off your order, whether you're a first-time buyer or returning customer. So you grab that phone, download the app if you don't already have it. If you do, open up the SeatGeek app, add John Boy Playoffs 10 to your account, and do it right now. If you're not familiar with SeatGeek, it's actually the #1 rated ticketing app. It makes buying tickets super simple. They're also looking out for your wallet. They rate every ticket on a scale of 0 to 10 to make sure you're getting the best deal possible. You might see a seat and says, wait, that's on the floor for an NBA game? Must be the best ticket. No. Slow your roll. Might be too high a price for you. They're looking out for you. They also color code it. So green dot, thumbs up. Red dot, thumbs down. So take advantage of this special postseason hookup. Use that code JohnBoyPlayoffs10, 10% off the tickets at SeatGeek. Code works on tickets to anything. It doesn't matter how many times you bought the tickets using SeatGeek before. So open up your phone once again, add the code JohnBoyPlayoffs10 to your account. You will thank us later. Go ahead. Yes.
I just looked up everybody in their bullpen. They're all signed to at least 2028.
Yeah.
Talking Foley, Holton, Vest, Brisky, and Herder.
Foley's interesting because they didn't want to touch him after that game in Houston where he was a little bit all over the place.
The body of work is fine. I think he's through 2028. And then, okay, so starting rotation, Tarek Skubal, Cater. I think they maybe
Cater Montero. Yeah, great. I love his arm.
Yeah, I mean, they have some guys. I'm
Reese
excited
Olson,
about the Tigers.
Excellent. Yeah. Vest, Brisky, very, very good. Horton, all they're in great shape. They really are. But in the offseason, let's just say, oh, okay, we'll run it back with these guys.
Exactly.
That's what you got to do. So, San Diego Padres. They were up 2-1 over the Dodgers in their best-of-5 series, and then they could not hit anymore. Tough way for them to bow out.
Sucks to lose, right? And, you just take how it is. Just proud of these guys, man. I mean, I think this group in here, went above and beyond every single day and fought to the last out was made. And, it's a beautiful thing to be a part of this team and this organization and everything we've done this year.
We have a strong core over here that, man, the sky's the limit. And I have no doubt we're going to be knocking on the door every single year. And can't wait.
Machado and Tatis right there. Yeah, I mean, they'll be there. But, man, it feels like a missed opportunity for them, doesn't it?
They were hot. They had all the momentum in the world. They had the Dodgers on the ropes like none other right there. And, yes, I don't really know what happened, Chris. I think you have to tip your cap. I don't know who said that. Did Profar say we're not going to tip our cap?
He said we're the better team. Not going to do that.
I don't really know what happened to their offense because it was a damn good offense. I think you do have to tip your cap to the Dodgers pitching and just say, hey, man, they got hot at the right time. But, yeah, I think it is a huge missed opportunity because we're seeing this with like the Phillies now too. Like you think you're going to be there every year, and sure, the Phillies were in the DS this year, but like matching up a good year in health with momentum is like they had everything going for them. I guess you could say Ha-Sung Kim wasn't there, but everybody else was there, and everybody else was healthy, and they had the momentum. And they had Jackson Merrill out of freaking nowhere. Like everything was going right for them. They made the right moves at the trade deadline. They brought in Tanner Scott, Shohei went 0 for 5 with 5 Ks against. Like they did everything right. And now you're done. It just happens that fast, man. So yeah, I do believe it was a missed opportunity. And will they be back next year? Yeah, they'll be competitive, but you just don't know in this game, man.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to have Joe Musgrove next year, and he's kind of the heart and soul of that pitching staff. Michael King and Dylan Cease are in their walk years. We'll see if either get an extension. You mentioned Tanner Scott. He's a free agent.
Yep.
Higashioka, he's a free agent. Had an amazing year, but he's in his mid-30s, which, by the way, I didn't know. Did you know he's 34?
I think I did know that. I played against Higgy way back in the day, so that's
Crazy. And it'll be interesting as well because remember they cut $90 million off of their payroll last off season. So where are they? Remember, Peter Seidler has passed away, and he was the guy who was, it was his mission to bring the great city of San Diego a championship. I wonder what ownership is thinking about all of that now. You've got kind of a stinky face on you. Why?
Yeah, I don't. I'm looking at this Ha-Sung Kim contract. I just don't understand it.
Well, I think that he can be a free agent. There is something weird about it.
There's a mutual option in 2025, and it said it was for $1 million or $2 million. Like that's maybe this is wrong. Padres fans are going to light me up in social media for not knowing this, but I think that's big too.
Well, I thought I had read because of his injury that he had played his last game as a Padre. Now I could be wrong, but I don't know. They're always going to be around. I don't know. I always get frustrated by people who are like, well, what went wrong? I mean, what went wrong? It wasn't
the
like
offense
they
went cold. Wrong. That's it.
I mean, did their approach all of a sudden stop? Were they like, you know what? We scored 6 runs here in game 3. We're good. We're good. Like, no, it just sometimes you got to say that dude over there who was throwing the ball was better than me. It sucks. Like, it's not fun for Padres fans and Philly fans who thought they had a really good shot at it because of those offenses, and then they didn't do anything. It just sucks, but there's no explanation. So you've got to build the best team you can for 162 and hope to high hell that you don't go cold in a 3 or 5 game series. You might be able to figure it out in a 7-game series.
Dylan Cease didn't pitch well. That also went wrong.
I brought it up, but nobody seemed to care. That I was like, he's never pitched on 3 days rest. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Didn't make sense. As it was, they wouldn't have needed him to back up Darvish anyway in games 5. Darvish was freaking a wizard out there. I don't know. A great season for San Diego. Just you kind of feel for them because that's their only team down there. Their only big league team in any sport. So now they got to wait till next year. But that place will be packed again. Awesome atmosphere. Thank you for providing us with some fun. Really cool. Can I mention one other thing before we go?
Sure.
We know that we don't take cheap shots on this show. We really don't. We might not agree with everything that goes on. We might put our opinions out there. I just want you all to understand, first of all, we appreciate you tuning in every day because you have a lot of baseball choices. You come here. Thank you. It's awesome. Don't take it personally. When we don't pick your team to win a series, oh, you're a hater. Well, shit. If we have to go pick one of 2, I'm only going to pick one. So same with him. Same with this guy. He's only going to pick one. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know ball. Really? Find me somebody who has an opinion on anything in the world, and they've been right in everything. Just let's stop with that. You can disagree with us. We are here for that. You can disagree. You could even call it like, you're an idiot. Ha, 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 ha. We don't hate your teams, and we do know ball. We love it, and sometimes we're right, and sometimes we are wrong.
I'm right way more than you are, but
absolutely
I get the sentiment.
Absolutely, you are right more than I am.
I talked about this on Talking Baseball too, dude. I said, you know what? I don't hate the Mets. I don't hate the Dodgers, but each team thinks I hate them. So it's going to be a tough one for you guys.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible. Why do you hate the Dodgers? I don't. If y'all have followed along since I started with Intentional Talk in 2011, I love one team, and they're from Cleveland. The rest of them, well, I want to see good baseball.
Exactly.
That's it. Thank you. And thank you for being here. Now I'm going to go back to hating 29 other teams. We are back at it again on Tuesday. Don't forget to get your SeatGeek question of the week in by Thursday night so that we can use it on Friday's show. Best one that gets picked, $500 credit to use on the SeatGeek app. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Tuesday here on Baseball Today, presented to you by SeatGeek.